Welcome to the Geeking Poetic podcast channel.
On this channel, we have shows and segments that contain adult humor,
bad language, dirty jokes,
and other stuff that is strictly for mature audiences only.
So if you're too young or too sensitive for this kind of material, then please do not watch our channel or our videos.
This channel is not for you.
Thanks much.
And now, on with the show! About to fall over.
And welcome everybody to another episode, at long last, of Geeking Poetic podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Larry Roberts. The blue meanie in the middle over here.
I'm the meanie, right?
Well, you know, you're always bossing me around and shit.
Somebody needs to.
Yeah, I suppose so. It is my co-host and none other than
Megan Guess.
And you may notice that
Vito grew some hair.
Yeah, either Vito grew a lot of hair and got a little bit shorter, or
blue eyes now.
Yeah,
blue eyes.
Or we drinking some Stellas and everything.
I know.
You know, it is not Vito. Vito is not here. We've talked for so long about having guests on the show and everything, and for the topic we're talking about tonight, Vito is just sort of like, yeah, you know, I ain't got much to say about it. He hasn't had a lot to say about things.
Wasn't feeling it,
you know, lately. So who better than to get my friend and resident Tarantino fan, none other than, I'm not even going to name all the bands you're in because you play drums for like literally like
30 bands.
Yeah, it's like 7 or 8 now.
Yeah, somewhere
That's
between
close.
7 and 30. Yeah.
Yeah,
7
somewhere.
and 30?
Yeah.
At any given time.
It is none other than Garry Naples. Say hello, Gary.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no, this is cool, man. Like we've been doing this now for over 3 years.
Wow.
Almost 4 years.
That's weird.
Yeah, we started this in the spring of 2018, so it took us almost 4 years to finally lure somebody in.
Guest, yeah. We suckered
I'm
somebody
the first
finally.
So what we're here to talk about today is, if you didn't guess by looking at the title and everything and all that stuff, we're talking about one of our favorite directors, arguably one of the most important directors of our entire generation, and that is Quentin Tarantino. What's interesting about this is, even though we all like Tarantino, from talking to you guys and, me interjecting my thoughts and everything, I've come to find a couple things. One, I don't know. I honestly don't know what your lists are. Mm-hmm. I have some assumptions about a couple things because I know you guys, but I don't know like the placement and what you're going to say about it. So what I am curious to see is how different our reasons are and how different our choices are, because I know, like, even just talking to you, like, you and I like Tarantino movies for very different reasons.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, the stuff that I like and I think is cool is very different from the stuff you tend to like or what draws you in from them. And Gary's probably somewhere in the middle, I'm going to guess, from the things that you've told me about.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay. Yeah, I don't know what
He's like, I got no idea what you guys want.
Yeah, I got no idea what your guys' reasons for liking them are.
Well,
so,
like, for example, just kind of setting it up so if you people want to try to guess, like, what some of our choices are going to be before we list them. It's like, I am generally not a super ultra violent kind of person. I'm not a fan of like hyper violence. Like, I don't like movies like Hostel and Saw. I hate all that kind of garbage and shit. But when it comes to Tarantino movies, the violence is fucking awesome.
yeah.
It's really, really good. And I have reasons for why this is like the exception and, as compared to like a slasher, horror, serial killer, whatever fucking movie.
Yeah.
Meg does not like that part of it.
Yeah, I'm not so big into the violence. I mean, I get why you think that for yourself, but I just still don't like all the violence.
Yeah.
I'm not huge into that. So on my list, I think definitely shows that.
Yeah.
I had a hard time with this one.
Yeah.
Because there's some movies I saw and I really enjoyed them.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think I could put them in my top 5 because I don't think they would be my go-tos to rewatch over and over again.
Right.
For that reason.
Okay.
Because I just can't do all the violence.
Yeah.
Now, what about you, Gary? Like, what would you say are sort of your parameters for like what makes like a better Tarantino film than another?
That's a good question. I guess one is the vibe of the movie.
Okay.
That, like, I think the ones I like the most, I like the vibe of the most.
Okay.
Just the whole atmosphere of the movie.
They all definitely have their own individual
exactly.
vibes.
Totally.
You're right on that. Yeah.
So that's probably my biggest thing, other than stuff to go along with that would be like dialogue.
Okay.
And the violence it doesn't sway me one way or the other.
Okay.
Although maybe in one or two of them it is really cool.
Yeah. Exactly.
So that might help it a little bit.
Okay.
But that's not like a be end all.
It's not a deal breaker, but it's
Yeah.
not a deal maker.
Exactly.
Right. So that's what I
Yeah.
said. See, I thought he was kind of in the middle.
Yeah, you're right. I
I
guess
want to
you're
see
right.
the story. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's
You called
kinda,
that one.
right. Yeah. See, I know. I know a thing or two. But just from talking to you guys so much about it, because like I said, this is something we've been cooking up for a little while now. I've wanted to do Tarantino for ages because we've done Spielberg and we've done Stephen King and stuff like that, and which I love and everything. But we have this tendency on the show to gravitate more towards that kind of stuff. It always is more towards like sci-fi, horror, suspense, action kind of things. Whereas like we've never really done anything like this, this sort of more kind of like comedy, action, more dialogue driven films and stuff like that. Our stuff is always, a lot of it usually tends to revolve around like Vito being like, there's this amazing scene where everybody on the ship gets their head fucking decapitated at the
With
same
acid.
time. I voted for this movie because somebody got dipped in acid.
The Vito.
Yeah.
The Vito movie. I don't know what it is. That's a Vito movie.
It totally is. And we love that. That's great. We love Vito for that. But that's why it didn't really work for Tarantino and stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm super excited to get into this. So I don't want to waste too much time, bleeding around the bush, so to speak, because I will do that. Everybody that knows us and you guys know I'll do that. But what I do want to do here is we're going to explain what the parameters were for our choices, because it gets tricky with Tarantino, because Tarantino's had his,
He's got his hands in a lot of pots.
yeah, exactly. And he's done a lot of things. There's things where he just wrote movies. There's things where he just acted in movies. There's things where he just produced them. And so what we did to make this a little bit easier to narrow down and stuff is that we chose, obviously, his main 9 films that, starting with Reservoir Dogs up through Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Obviously, those all qualify, but the only other movies that could possibly qualify was that they had to meet at least 2 requirements. It couldn't just be one. So it was like it had to be something where he wrote and directed it, or he produced and directed it, or produced and wrote it, or directed and directed and acted in it. Like, so that added in a couple other movies that sort of go outside of that 9. I know no spoilers here, but none of those other like outside movies made my list. There's some great ones. Meg, did any make on your list maybe?
No, I don't think they did.
No? Oh, okay. Interesting.
None on mine.
So
All right then.
now we may still talk about those movies, and what we're going to do here, I figure this is the way we've done it this way before, and I think it's the most efficient way of doing this is we will go around and we're going to all just kind of briefly say, we'll start with Gary, and he'll say, all right, my number 5 movie is whatever, and then you say my number 5, we'll do number 5s, and then we're going to go and just list them all, number 4s, number 3s, number 2s, number 1s, and then I think we will talk about all the movies.
Anyone's missing?
Because I have and we'll just we'll just talk about
that.
all of them in general. We'll get the list out there right away, so you don't have to wait until an hour and a half from now to find out what number 1 is.
We don't ever do that.
Well, and because I think it's better to do it this way, because I have a feeling like, say, something that might be my number 5 might be Gary's number 1.
Oh yeah, there's going to be a lot of crossover. I think.
Right. So I don't want to like all of a sudden steal all that thunder. You know, I was thinking maybe we would just talk about all of them and then, or announce
List
all
them
of
all.
them, list them, and then we'll talk about all of them, and we can kind of talk about whether we like it or don't like it, and just do it that way. It'll be easier.
Okay.
Everybody
I'm
good
down
with that?
Yeah.
Yep.
that's
Okay,
good with
cool.
me.
All right. So without any further ado, we're going to list this. Number 5 obviously will be our least favorite, and number 1 will be the most favorite. So Gary, what is your number 5 choice?
My number 5, the one I had at number 5 was, and this was so hard. Kill Bill was number 5 for me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I know.
Any particular one, or is you just lump them together?
Well, that was another thing we said too. Kill Bill is going to be one movie for this, right?
Well,
No.
Okay.
yeah, no, it is.
No.
It potentially is.
It could be, but it doesn't have to be.
It doesn't have to be.
Okay. For
It's
me,
your choice, Gary.
yeah, for me, I considered it one movie.
Okay.
Yeah, as do I. Megan does not. She
Okay.
has very different opinions on the two halves.
Okay. Fair enough.
All right, so Gary is saying Kill Bill 1 and 2 is your number 5.
Yep.
Megan, what is your number 5?
I went with the Hateful Eight.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay.
Interesting. Number 5. Wow.
Yeah.
I'm surprised it was that far
Down
down.
the list. Okay.
Okay, and my number 5 is Jackie Brown.
Okay.
Yeah, Jackie Brown made it in there. I needed the rewatch.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of these movies we had to like rewatch
Rewatch
and
them,
refresh
like-
because even some that I've seen a bunch of times, it's like, man, I haven't watched that in like 10 years or something. So there was a lot of refreshing and a lot of shuffling around in my list. I don't know about you guys.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
Oh, big time.
So, all right. So number 5s are Kill Bill 1 and 2, Hateful
Hateful
Eight,
Eight.
and Jackie Brown. See, that's a pretty diverse mix right there just with our number 5s. All right. Gary, number 4 then.
Number 4, I had Pulp Fiction.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And see, I told you, I had a feeling these were going to be all over the place. I'm already guessing. Megan, what's your number 4?
I went number 4, Jackie Brown.
Oh, okay. All right, cool. My number 4 is, man, even now looking at this, I feel like
No,
this
you
is-
can't change it. You
I
already
know.
said. So you wrote it down.
I know. But it's just like looking at this because all 5 of these movies are fucking amazing. So it's like putting this at number 4. My number 4 is Django Unchained.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's a fucking great movie, but
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
something had to be number 4. So, okay. All right. So you were Pulp
Pulp
Fiction.
Fiction. Yep.
You were Jackie
Jackie
Brown, and I'm Django Unchained.
Okay.
All right. This is already very interesting to me. All right. Gary, number 3.
Number 3, I had Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Oh,
Wow.
okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Megan.
I went with Kill Bill 2.
Yeah.
2.
She's very adamant about that. You can see and hear. And she's like, it's 2.
2. Well, how about you?
Okay. Well, my number 3, again, my choices between number 2 and 3 was the toughest. I'll have to say. This went back and forth and back and forth. My number 3 is Inglorious Bastards.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
A good movie.
Yeah. So, Gary, you were
I was Once Upon a Time.
Time in Hollywood.
Yep.
You're Kill Bill
2.
2. And I'm an Inglorious Bastard.
Yes, you are.
You know, you're asking for it. All right.
You started it.
Yeah, I did. I know. Number 2, Gary.
I had Inglorious Bastards. at
Okay.
number 2.
Yes. Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
That's because I said that was the way it was for me too. Megan, you're number 2.
Oh, gosh. I want to switch my 1 and 2 back and forth. I don't know.
No, you can't do it. You made your choice. It's got to stay the way it is. I'm just dishing it right back out
Yeah,
at you.
you sure the fuck are. You can knock that off right now. I will stick to my number 2 then with
Yeah.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Wow. Okay.
Damn. I almost went number 2 with that one too.
Did you?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, and that's funny because same here because I said I was going back and forth and Glorious Bastards was my number 3, but number 2 is Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Nice.
So we all seem to be kind of close on the same,
Yeah, we got it all
same
got it high up
page
there.
with that. Yeah. All right. Okay. So we're down to number 1. And Gary, what is your number 1?
I went with Jackie Brown, which
Yeah.
you probably assumed.
That one I kind of knew because I know how big of a fan you are. Megan, what's your number 1?
I went with Pulp Fiction.
Okay. Wow. And my number 1, which is going to be no surprise to anybody because I'm wearing the fucking T-shirt, is Kill Bill 1 and 2. So it's funny. So my number 1 was your number 5, wasn't it?
Yep.
And my number 5 is your number 1. So that's total opposite ends of the spectrum. But again, I mean, we'll talk about this obviously in depth now, but I mean, none of these movies, like every single one of these in this 5, I feel very strongly about. They're all fucking amazing. It's just something had to be number 5 and something had to be number 1, you know.
Yeah, even the ones I left out, I didn't like leaving out.
Sure. I really like the Hateful Eight, but I just couldn't fit it.
Couldn't fit it in, right? Well, that's how.
If we had a top 10, you could fit it.
Yeah, exactly.
We could fit them all.
Yeah, totally. Kill Bill could be 2 movie stuff, too.
Exactly. Yeah, and you could get like more technical about it and stuff. For me, I'm fine with Kill Bill 1 and 2 being together because even though I guess if I had to choose, I would, if I have to choose which one I like better, I like part 1 better, which obviously you completely disagree because you didn't even list part 1.
No.
Wow. Okay. But
yeah, that's interesting.
Well, I have a feeling it's going to go back to what we were just talking about earlier about the
will.
things that we do and don't like about some of the Tarantino films. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure people at home, I mean, they're going to look at my list and because I said Jackie Brown, Django, Inglourious Bastards, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Kill Bill. So there's no Pulp Fiction on my list.
What is that about?
I'll get into it when we discuss Pulp Fiction.
All right, fine.
And regrettably, because it would be on my list, there's no Reservoir Dogs. You know, which was the first and a lot of people's first movie they ever saw of him because it was his first big movie, you know, that he did. But yeah, it got edged out there by Jackie. And I feel good about it. You know,
Feel good about
yeah,
it?
I do.
Okay.
I feel real good about it. I feel good about this list now. So
Now that you said it out loud, you feel good about not switching things around anymore?
yeah. So, all right. So it doesn't, you know, why don't we just go through, we'll talk about all the movies chronologically.
Okay.
So even the ones that didn't make our list. So obviously, like we said, we had Reservoir Dogs that came out. What year did that come out? I need to look that up because I always forget. I can never remember if it's 92 or 93. It's 92. So Reservoir Dogs came out in 92. Obviously, as most people know, you know, he had done some writing and some acting and stuff before that, but this was like his first real foray into directing and writing and doing the whole thing. I think it's a great movie. I really love that movie. Like I said, I saw that one at the theater just not long after, you know, I was at the ripe age of 19 or whatever the fuck I was when that came out. I'm not going to ask Gary what age he was because he was very young.
Are you still in diapers?
Yeah. No, I was...
He was in grade school.
93, I was 7. Yeah.
You were in like grade school.
93, I was 13.
Oh, junior high.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, so very different ages there. You know,
Yeah.
I was already well out of high school and stuff. So for me, that movie, I recently rewatched it, and the reason it didn't make my list is because even though I still very much enjoy it, it shows its age a little bit.
Yeah.
And it was one of those ones, I was talking about this with Zach, your guitar player, the other night.
Yeah.
I was talking about this with him the other night and stuff because he was really surprised when I told him I wouldn't put Reservoir Dogs on my list. And the way I explained it was, it reminds me of a lot of those directors, even like, say, Kevin Smith and stuff like with Clerks and everything. That's another movie that came out right about the same time and I fucking loved. And at the time, both of those movies were very groundbreaking in a lot of ways, introducing that whole kind of heavy dialogue, you know, a lot of referential stuff referring to 70s and 80s pop culture shit. Loved it. It was great. I think the problem is when I look at Reservoir Dogs now and I watch it, I see a lot of the warts and wrinkles on it.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just like, yeah, Quentin, it's an amazing first movie, but it's very much a first movie.
Yeah.
Does that make sense what I'm saying? Like it doesn't hold up, I think, as well as some of the other movies, like a Pulp Fiction or Jackie Brown and stuff. Like his writing, his whole style just got so much more finessed.
Well, of course it did.
Yeah. It's kind of like a really good demo, you know, like an old metal demo. Like I remember like when the Cynic demo came out back in like 90 or whatever it was, the Florida death metal band Cynic. You're just going to have to deal with it. You got some metal people here, folks. Now I'll explain as best as I can. When that demo came out, I mean, I even now, like I can listen to it and be like, God, this was brilliant. This is like amazing. It's really cool. But when you compare it to where they went a few years later, once they got better and they really finessed it and had more money and more time and more experience and what they did with Focus and their other albums, you go, oh yeah, that's such a better version of this band. I still admire that demo, but you listen to it and you're like, yeah, it's a demo. That's sort of how I feel. Maybe that's a little unfair to Reservoir Dogs, because Reservoir Dogs is still a very entertaining movie, but it couldn't compare to these other movies for me.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
Yeah.
He did a lot of the stuff that he did in that movie better later on.
Exactly.
Even in the next movie, Pulp Fiction.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. I almost feel like Pulp Fiction, even though there are different movies, I feel like Pulp Fiction is like the more realized version of what he was trying to do with Reservoir Dogs. You know what I mean? That's how I feel about it. So anyway, I don't know if you guys have anything you want to throw in there about Reservoir Dogs, talk about it. Or...
No, I agree.
Okay.
That I've watched it recently too, and it's a great movie.
It's great, but it's
not as entertaining, or for me at least, as
the others.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much all of the others.
Agreed. Yeah, just about. Yeah, just about, man. I pretty much agree with that. I know there's some people at home, they're like, you're out of your fucking mind.
Oh, yeah. No, I know.
Reservoir Dogs has its fans, man, and rightfully so. But yeah, that's just kind of why. The next movie that came out, which was your number one, wasn't it?
It was my number one.
It was Pulp Fiction, 1994. Now, why would this be your number one?
Because this was my first movie I ever saw by Quentin Tarantino.
Okay, so it's got that allure to it.
Exactly. It's my first, so it's got to be my first.
Yeah.
He popped my cherry.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I just love the story and the comedy that goes with it.
Yeah.
I just love the way it's told. And there's violence, but it's not like all about the violence.
No.
I mean, they're not bashing people's heads in and shit.
No.
Blowing them off, but on accident. It was totally an accident, so it's fine.
Yeah.
It's different.
Yeah, no.
Somehow.
The violence in that movie is done really well to keep like the story going and everything, and is also like the whole scene.
Which character?
With Bruce Willis.
Oh,
he
yeah,
gets
yeah.
taken
Okay.
hostage.
Oh, right.
Oh,
yeah.
Dude.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's amazing. It's so funny.
And the gimp.
Yeah, and the gimp.
And all that.
That's what I was trying to think.
That's what I was thinking when you were saying about this movie popping your cherry. I'm like, just as long as it wasn't the gimp.
No, thank God. It wasn't that like that at all. But
No. Because nobody wants their cherry popped by the gimp.
No.
That's just no good comes from that.
No.
Yeah, this movie, again, it didn't make my list because there was always something about it that it never really connected to me as a full, complete story. It's hard to explain. I've come to like this movie much more in recent years, but when I first saw it, for some reason, even though I acknowledge, like I said, I liked things about it, some things about it I could see like, oh, this is done better than it was with Reservoir Dogs. As an overall story, I didn't care for the story as much as I did the Reservoir Dogs story. That story like grabbed me more. I felt like I really liked the tension of Reservoir Dogs, whereas this movie has tension too, but it's more funny, I guess, more cartoony.
And that's right up my alley.
Yeah.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah, to me, so.
And
I love it when he's driving in the car singing along. And he runs into him. He's like, son of a bitch. He runs him over and then donuts go everywhere. I don't know.
That is definitely
right up my alley.
That is so up your alley. Yeah.
Like, where's Zed? Zed's dead, baby.
Yeah. Now that you're explaining it all, I'm like, oh yeah, this is a Meg film.
Yeah.
Definitely. Well, plus the cast. I mean, it's got Travolta.
Yes, love it.
You know, it's got Bruce Willis in it, which you like Bruce Willis.
I love Bruce Willis.
Yeah, and everything.
Best Christmas movie ever.
Oh God, really? That's got to fucking get back into this.
Of course, it's almost almost Christmas.
I give up. Everybody,
should.
if you don't know at home, it's a constant battle with me and pretty much the rest of the world that I love Die Hard. I don't consider it a Christmas movie.
And you're wrong, but that's okay.
It's set during the holidays, but it's not a Christmas movie.
Whatever you need to tell.
I know. I
Consider it
get.
a
I
Christmas movie.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
it's
yeah.
maybe the best Christmas movie.
Oh.
of all time. Yeah.
Fucking. Oh my God.
Anyway.
Anyway, so I just give up on that. I know I am definitely in the minority when it comes to that one.
Yeah, Samuel L. Jackson's in it.
Awesome. Uma Thurman. It's her
Uma
introduction into the Quentin verse,
Universe,
you know,
yeah.
and everything. I'm a big Uma Thurman fan. So not that I can pronounce her name apparently, but I'm a big fan of her, not just in Tarantino, but just across the board. So I love her part. I think that there's parts of Pulp Fiction that I think are just totally sublime, and I adore. But that's a movie, and why it didn't make this list, because that's a movie that I'm actually okay just watching in parts. Like, there's certain parts and things that I'm like, not that any of it's bad, but there's just parts where I'm just like, yeah, I can get up and walk out and go make a snack, during this. But then, I want to come back and see this part. The other movies in my list, there are no breaks. You know what I mean? Like, I am just sucked in from beginning to end. Pulp Fiction, I don't feel that way about and everything. So, but again, still a fucking great movie.
It's got a lot of signature scenes too. The whole,
Oh yeah,
the adrenaline shot scene,
which is great.
shooting Marvin in the face in the car.
Yeah, no,
The whole scene with Harvey Keitel, or the whole part of the
Yes.
movie with Harvey Keitel's character, is amazing. The
Yeah.
wolf.
yeah, the wolf. Yeah. No, don't. Again, like I said, don't get me wrong. There's nothing in that. There's certain aspects of the whole Gimp scene I could do without. But aside from that, but I mean, no, there's nothing bad about it. I'm just saying it's one of those movies that, I almost, because it's so individual scene driven. You know what I mean? It's almost not skits exactly, but you know what I mean? It's not quite as, it doesn't feel quite as cohesive as the other movies.
Yeah.
It's like a bunch of really amazing skits and scenes and stuff. I know it does tie together in a way.
At the end of it. Yeah, but I feel like that's how a lot of his movies are.
Yeah, agreed.
Because they're so chopped up and all over the place.
Yeah.
No, yeah, non-linear. Yeah, I mean, I agree. Again, like I said, it's not that I even have a problem with the non-linear aspect of it or anything like that, because all his films are like that to some degree, or many of them are at least. But it's just, again, it's a great movie. It just couldn't. It wasn't. It's not a strong enough overall story for my taste to make my top 5. That's basically it.
I suppose that's fair.
Yeah.
It's wrong, but it's fair.
For fuck's sake. So, ready to move on to the next one?
Yes.
All right. Well, the next one, I think all three of us will have a lot to say about this one. Next one is 1997's Jackie Brown.
My number one.
Yeah, that was Gary's number one. So, go into it, Gary. Like, why is this number one of all of them?
I just have always loved that movie. It's always been like a movie. I watch that movie at least a few times a year.
Yeah.
Which I don't really do with a lot of movies. There's not a lot of movies I watch regularly.
Okay.
Or at all. But no, I just love that movie. Like I said earlier, the vibe of the movie is I just love the way it kind of rolls along, and
it's a vibey movie.
Yeah, the characters are great. The music's great. It's just always been my favorite.
Yeah.
I just love the story behind it, and the characters are great. Pam Grier is amazing.
She's amazing. Yeah. She is so fucking amazing. That's one of the things I really love about. One of the things I really love about this movie is, I love the fact that Quentin, because he's pretty fearless. That's definitely one thing we can give him, is he's not really afraid to do just about anything.
Yeah,
he wants to do it, and he did something that just about no other director in Hollywood would have done then, especially a young one. Maybe you'd get a Scorsese or somebody who might do this, but he just was. Pam Grier hadn't really done anything in a while.
A lot of people are like, really? You're going to cast her?
Right, exactly. She was surprised
and
to
he's
be
like,
cast.
I wrote it for you. What are you talking about?
Which, from what I understand, she was just absolutely fucking stunned about. Was like, because she read the script, not realizing that she was Jackie. She thought she might be one of the other Sharonda or one of those characters. And he was like, no, you're Jackie Brown. She was like, holy shit. And I mean, and I can't imagine anybody else being Jackie Brown.
Yeah, she was perfect.
Fucking perfect for it. Like she had this like nothing, everything she did was just like slightly understated. And it made it real. You know what I mean? Like it didn't feel like she was overacting. When she'd get mad and intense, it wasn't like totally flying off the hand. It was like I don't know. It felt real to me. And just like when she
was scary.
Yeah, she could be scary. She was very conniving and fucking smarter than everybody else in the movie, pretty much. But you know, just the fact that he took the chance on hiring Robert Forster and getting him, because he was doing like nothing. Quentin had to track him down. He was working at like, I forget where the fuck he was working. He was working at like a tire barn or or a car wash or something like that. I mean, he was basically just kind of an mostly out of work actor at that point who never had gotten like a big break again, you know, since ages ago. And when Quentin came to him, he was just like, holy shit. So to make your two leads, and then you've got Samuel L. Jackson, who isn't at that time. Samuel L. Jackson was not
Samuel L. Jackson.
He wasn't right. He wasn't like lead role material. So he takes these actors and he makes them like the three main characters of the movie. That was so fucking brave and brilliant.
Yeah.
And then he takes he takes other actors who were very big name actors at the time, like De Niro.
Yeah, I know.
And Keaton. And he puts them in supporting roles.
Yeah.
In brilliant supporting roles.
Yeah.
You know, like, I mean, yeah, that is one of the things that just really strikes me about this movie is like, it's a very brave movie. Now, I know people can look at it and be like, oh, I don't know if it's as brave as like, you know, Django or even Pulp Fiction and some of the crazy shit that went on in there and boundaries that were pushed. It's a different kind of brave. To me, this was Hollywood fuck you brave. You know what I mean? Like
I
this,
do it how I want to do it,
right?
Not
And
how you tell me to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
And to basically in the late '90s recreate, you know, make his version of a blaxploitation film, you know, and do it in a way that was classy. You know, I mean, it wasn't punching down at anybody. It wasn't making fun of like that genre or, you know, fuck, such a good fucking movie. And yeah, of course, I love like 70s, 60s, and 70s soul and funk and everything, Delphonics, all that. Like, I love that stuff. So, and the way he used it was like very effective.
Oh yeah,
and that so fucking good, man.
Yeah, the music's perfect for that movie.
And and I think this movie really started to showcase some of his best shots too, camera shots. Just the first shot of that movie with her on the movie walkway.
Oh yeah.
And that with the music playing and the credits rolling and her just standing there and that whole beginning sequence, it's so simple, but at the same time it like draws me in. You know, I'm just like, where's this gonna go?
Yeah, that shot where he's going to shoot Beaumont in the trunk.
Oh, dude!
And he closes the trunk, and then the camera just starts going up, and you just see him drive around
the corner.
Right, right. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's great shots in the previous two movies. Don't get me wrong. But this one is the first one where it felt like, without getting like corny, it felt art, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I felt like this is like, holy shit, this is some like super classic fucking movie making here. This isn't just stuff for like, you know, surprise and like, holy fuck. Like, you know, there was plenty of that in like Pulp Fiction and stuff, which is great. But this felt like really classic fucking Hollywood movie making, you know? And the fact that it drew upon a genre that had been sort of looked at as, you know, not serious Hollywood, you know, the blaxploitation movies, and that was not, you know, considered like high class movie making. And the fact that he took that and was like, no, this is real good fucking movie making with good actors and good stuff, you know?
Yeah.
He brought it up to times. Love it. Fucking love this movie, man. Yeah, I mean, again, even just talking about it now, I'm like, God damn it, I could push this up further up the list and everything. But it, you know, it is what it is.
It took me a while for this one to grow on me.
Right.
I was watching it. I was like, okay, exactly is going on here?
Yeah.
Like, are we ever going to, what's happening? And then once I got into it and realized she was playing all the sides,
Yeah.
I was like, ooh, this bitch is clever.
Yeah.
I'm really enjoying
dangerous.
this story and dangerous. And I thought for sure that bondsman was going to get his ass handed to him. And
Yeah.
like, she's totally going to play him.
Yeah.
And she's going to walk away free. So I was real nervous
Yeah.
for that guy the entire time. He's like, she's playing you. What are you doing?
But she wasn't. She wasn't
wasn't.
playing Max. That
I
was the
know,
only one.
But
that,
I
like,
thought for sure, right up to the end, that she was.
Yeah.
I was very happy when she wasn't.
Yeah. The movie has a great ending.
Yeah.
and it's
A happy ending
Yeah.
Well,
I know.
it is
for a Tarantino movie.
Yeah.
It's a happy ending, but it's sort of like this. It's sort of like this bittersweet happy ending. You know what I mean? Because you kind of want. I mean, even when Max is on the phone at the end and he takes that ill-timed fucking call, somebody calls when she's kind of trying to talk him into coming with her, and he's saying no, and she leaves, and when he was like, let me call you back in a half an hour, you think like, oh fuck, he's gonna go after her. Like and he doesn't. He just kind of, you can see like he walks away kind of out of focus, and you just see him sort of dealing with like the realization and the agony and the heart. I'm sure there's heartbreak because clearly he was in love with her and then infatuated with her. And
being at Tarantino, I thought he was going to shoot himself then. That's why I was like, oh my gosh, now he's going to commit suicide because he didn't go. I was like, oh gosh. So
no,
again, very happy ending, better than what I thought it was going to be. So
yeah,
because I just knew he was going to get the raw end of the deal here.
I suppose in that regard, when you're just so used to it being like, people are going to die, and it's like, oh no, it's a kind of happy.
Yeah, and I loved Robert De Niro's character. He cracked me up.
Dude, he fucking kills me because you just see, like, I know guys in real life that are very much like Lewis.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've known that guy, and just the way Bridget Fonda's character is just constantly fucking with him through the whole movie, and just like, and he's just so kind of like,
another word.
You can just see him just shake. Most of the time, he doesn't even have that much dialogue in this movie. It's all just him like
reacting,
intensely reacting, and you're trying to read like his mind, and where it's going.
Yeah,
you're like, but then when it does happen, and the way,
oh my god,
you're like, holy shit, that was a fucking reaction. It's amazing. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Just shoots her in the parking lot
twice. Well, I shot her twice. I shot her in the stomach and I shot her in the chest. So
is she dead?
I think so.
Maybe.
Yeah, she's fucking dead. Yeah, it's like I love that it takes like 3 minutes just for Samuel Jackson to get him to say, "Is she dead?" And he's like, "Yeah, she's fucking dead." Okay. And he's like, "Damn."
You had to do what you had to do.
That whole exchange of the two of them in the truck after that happens, and the whole it's such a beautiful balance of tension, because you're like, oh my god, like what's he gonna do when he finds out that he killed her, and then realizing that and knowing that he's gonna find out about the money fucking snafu, and just everything. There's like all this tension. You're like, oh, this is not gonna fucking go well. But then at the same time, it's so goddamn funny too. Yeah, that you keep laughing at. It's a really good balance there. He's so good at like turning that on and off. Where it's like funny, totally not funny. Now it's funny again. Now,
stop smiling.
Yeah, exactly. Smile, stop smiling. Right. Yeah, exactly. This movie is really, really good at that. So yeah, obviously, because of how I feel about these other movies, it just couldn't be my number one. On a different week or a different day, it might be my number 3 or my, something like that. But as it stands now, it's my number 5. But I know like I said, I know it's your number 1, and I understand why. And for Meg, it's kind of in the middle. Yeah. Meg in the middle. Yep. As usual. Meg in the middle.
I'm always in the middle.
In the middle.
All right. So then moving on from there, now we talked about his number 1. We talked about your number 1. We're going to talk about my number 1.
Okay.
So we jumped. There was a 5-year gap, actually, which was a pretty big gap for him at the time. And but when you think about what he created and all that was involved in that, it kind of makes sense.
They made these two together, didn't they? At the same time.
They made it at the same time. It was a big production. But it's 2003 and 2004's Kill Bill 1 and 2. So what I want to get to first before, because I'll go on and on about it, but the thing that I'm the most curious about, I'm sure most people are, is that Megan, you did not mention Kill Bill 1. You were very adamant not to, but you listed Kill Bill 2 in your list.
Yes.
And why?
Okay. So Kill Bill 1.
Right.
Because I didn't know squat about Kill Bill.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Hadn't watched it before or knew anything about it. So watching the first one, and we went through all that violence.
Amazing.
A ton of violence.
Yes, it's fucking awesome.
It was entertaining, but my problem was I didn't understand why.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, there's no story. She's just running around killing everybody.
Well,
I mean, I knew it was revenge, or it wasn't even revenge.
Yeah.
She said, she's like, if I was revenge, I'd kill your husband and your kid and all your
to
other family
be
stuff.
even.
To be
yeah,
even,
it's like, but this is beyond being
beyond
even.
that.
This is,
This is getting my power back.
Yeah. Right.
So, I mean, I get that, but I didn't get why they shot her in the first place. It didn't make sense to me in Kill Bill 1.
The Bill aspect of it was very nebulous,
Yes.
because you didn't know hardly anything about their backstory as a couple and
Right.
why her going and getting pregnant and married. They didn't tell you much
I
about
was
that.
like, oh, at the end, I was like, oh, okay, and
Right.
it just left me wanting something. So, but then Kill Bill 2 was a different story. There's way less violence.
Mm-hmm.
There's still a fair amount of violence.
There's still, oh yes, but it wasn't as like
It wasn't
blood
as
all over the place, spewing and stuff like that. That's
Right.
I don't care for that.
okay.
Shoot
Yeah.
people. I just don't need to see the blood everywhere.
Yeah.
A
A lot of that in the first one.
Yeah.
Yes. And I mean, it seemed more like the story was getting me somewhere. I started to understand why they did what they did. It was completely stupid, but I understood it more. And why she was doing what she was doing better.
Right.
In the way she was doing it.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I just enjoyed the story better in Kill Bill 2 as opposed to Kill Bill 1.
What'd you think of the ending?
I liked it.
Yeah.
Another happy-ish ending.
Yeah.
Bittersweet ending, I guess.
Yeah.
Because she was sad she had to kill him, but
Yeah.
fucker killed her first.
Yeah. Like I said, I love the whole fucking thing. If I had to choose which one I love more, I slightly prefer Kill Bill 1 over 2. And the reason being is because it's interesting that when he was making this movie, even when he was in the middle of making it and had a lot of it done, he did not intend this to be 2 movies. This was supposed to be 1 movie, and he was operating under the assumption of like, I'm going to have to cut so much shit out of this, and it's a shame, but he wanted to get it all down. And one of the few good things that old Harvey did,
Yeah.
that fucker, was that he actually stepped up when he saw what it was and he got a real grasp of what the magnitude of it. He said, no, don't cut it. Why don't we just make this 2 movies? To which Quentin, I guess, was like, okay,
Yeah.
But what's interesting about it was doing that is that the way he edited it, he made it into 2 very different toned movies, because
Very.
the first movie is very much a Shaw Brothers late 70s martial arts
Yeah.
Shogun ninja, action drama movie, 5 Deadly Venoms and all that kind of stuff. It very much draws on that. Whereas the second movie is much more like spaghetti western, Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, Clint Eastwood kind of thing. I mean, it still has some of that martial arts aspect to it, of course, but nowhere near as much. It definitely, even the soundtrack changes. You listen to the soundtrack in the first movie, and it's much more drawing upon those sort of action, martial arts movie kind of things. And then the soundtrack in the second one is much more of that, again, that spaghetti western soundtrack with the flamenco guitars and the whistling in the wind kind of shit and everything. I love them both, but I mean, this movie, first of all, Uma Thurman as the bride is, in my opinion, one of the top 10 greatest lead characters in a movie ever.
Wow.
Yeah. She was perfect for that role.
perfectly acted, perfectly written and conceived, and just the way, the whole way it's done, the stunts, just everything. It's so amazing. I put that character and her portrayal of that character up there for me with Christopher Reeve playing Superman, and you know what I mean. Harrison Ford is Indiana Jones, and
Wow.
Hannibal Lecter, and all these other, like, to me, The Bride is like that great. Like, it's so good. I feel like she's, even as popular as that movie is, I don't think it gets enough credit, especially for a female lead character and stuff. Because I mean, we've talked about before that there's still a lot of chauvinism in the industry and in the public and how they feel about stuff and everything. I feel like, when people talk about Wonder Woman, they talk about Captain Marvel, and they talk about all these different characters, and they're great. But I feel like the fucking Bride is like the top of the fucking heap.
Yeah.
I think she's like a perfectly balanced character. And I love that they introduced that, the thing that sort of changed her, because she's just a fucking brutal, merciless killing machine. But, when she found out she was going to be a mother, it was like, nope, my world's changed now and everything. And it's so interesting that they did that, and I don't feel like they did that without making her like wimpy. It's not like she wimped out. It's not like suddenly she became all, and they addressed that. I love the fact that Bill even calls her out on that. It's like, that's you that ain't you.
Yeah.
You could have a kid, you could run away, you could, be a barefoot bride. You can't hide your true nature and stuff. I love that they addressed that. And anyway, I mean, the thing is, I could do a whole show just about fucking Kill Bill because I fucking love that movie so much. The soundtracks are amazing. The way they use the music. Fuck, man. I don't even know where to start. Like, it's so fucking great. Gordon Liu as fucking Pai Mei. Oh, man.
Freaking beard flip.
Yeah.
Like, stop flipping the beard. Why do you have to keep doing that?
He's Pai Mei. That's what you do, And then as the leader of the Crazy 88 gang, and the whole Crazy 88 scene alone, just how that, oh my God, the whole way that's choreographed and filmed and with the lights off and holy fuck. The whole fucking scene with Hattori Hanzo.
Yeah.
With his bad sushi. And everything, and his goofy sidekick guy, and the whole like back and forth that's going back. Then why do I have to get the drinks and everything, yelling at him, like it's so masterfully done. And also, I should say, because like I said, I am like I said before, the way I'm not generally a big fan of horror. I do love some horror, but generally I'm not a big horror fan. Whereas like everybody else I fucking know anymore, they're just like horror. All they care about is horror.
You don't like the brutality of horror.
Yeah, and I just don't think a lot of it's very good. It doesn't interest me. Even the stuff that people are like, oh, this movie's brilliant. Some of the ones that I've seen, I won't get into all that, but I just watch it and I'm just like, it just doesn't really do it for me. But what I was going to say is the way other people feel about horror and stuff is the way I feel about old martial arts movies. I fucking love old, like, I will literally, if you tell me, like, hey, man, I'm going to lock you in a room for the next 12 hours and you're going to watch nothing but Shaw Brothers movies, like Man with the Golden Arm and, yeah, exactly, Five Deadly Venoms, all that kind of shit. I'm like, okay. Drunken Master, 3, all that. Like, I'm like, yep, okay. I never get sick of them. I love how ridiculous they are. The violence in them is pretty hyper, but it's not a violence that bothers me. Violence in a movie where I see a bunch of innocent people being killed by some fucking monster or serial killer, especially, I'm like, I don't find entertainment from this. But like some fucking vengeful, samurai guy that's going around just fucking hacking off limbs and killing all these fucking people because they burned his family's village down and all this kind of shit, and just watching that brutality for the next hour and a half, I'm like, fuck yeah, I love it. I fucking love it, and it's so with the wire work stuff and all the sword work stuff and the sound effects, just all of that. I fucking adore that shit. So the fact that this movie pays homage to that and is such a big part of that, it's like, that's why it's my number one. Like, I think this is one of the best movies made in the last 25 years, like fucking hands down. It's actually a contender for the best movie made in the last 25 years.
Oh, wow.
Period. Not just Tarantino. I don't know if it would be the best, but it's up there, you know.
Wow.
What about you, Garrett? Like you like it. I know it was far down on your list and stuff. But-
Yeah, no, it was far down, but that doesn't. I mean, it was so hard to make the list. So.
Right, agreed.
But no, yeah, I love. I would say I like the first part more, but both the whole movie is. I mean, you know, the first part just sets up the second part. So
right.
yeah, no, the scene with the crazy 88s, that is amazing.
All the Orenishi
Yeah.
stuff. Even just when they get into the Orenishi backstory and they decide to do it, you know, Japanimation anime stuff. I'm like, that's fucking brilliant to do it that way.
Or even just the way when the movie starts, that first scene when Uma Thurman and Vivica Fox are fighting in the kitchen.
Yes.
I remember seeing that movie for the first time, and it just starts and it goes into that
Right
scene.
out of the gate. Yeah.
And you're just like, holy shit.
I know. And yeah.
The one time he doesn't take forever to build up.
Yeah,
everything.
exactly.
No, he did. Yeah. And I would say that while I completely appreciate, Meg, why it didn't quite work for you, the nature of how the nonlinear story worked in this for you, because it left you sort of wanting and being like, I'm not totally on board with this story until the second half. This is the one that I feel like I really enjoy the most, the nonlinear aspect of it. I like the fact, I love that it starts with the Vivica Fox fight scene, when actuality that was the second person she went after, because she went after Orenishi first and everything, but that doesn't come till the end of the movie.
Yeah.
I really like the way this works. And I know there's some people out there that are big fans of taking the two movies and making them linear. I know there's like edits out there of it being that way. And that's cool. It's interesting. I would watch that now because I'm so familiar with the damn movie that I could enjoy it. But I'm glad that I saw it. Yeah, same thing, man. Like when I first saw it and it started with that, I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
We're right into this. And then just the weight of the gravity of the whole thing, because it happened in front of Vivica's daughter. And what that might mean for the future, because there's a lot of rumors, and Quentin's been hinting that this is leading up to possibly what his 10th and final movie will be.
Yeah, which would be amazing.
If he did the follow-up and had the daughter come back for her vengeance and everything. It's like, that's pretty cool.
You were talking about Elle possibly being a part of that too.
Oh,
for the third one. Now that she's
that's
her eye.
I forget. Yeah, that's a very good point, because I was saying that we never see, she doesn't die. We never see her die. Yeah. We see her eye get taken out. And she's just writhing around screaming, I'll get you, you fucking bitch, blah, 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 and everything. So she doesn't die. So there's a good culprit for being, aside from Vivica's daughter.
She could like train Vivica's daughter and go after.
Could be like a Cobra Kai kind of thing. It's like we're like we turn in now, like the bad guys are sort of like the good guys.
The next generation.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's true. You never see her die. She just leaves her in the trailer with the snake. So kind of just assumed, I guess.
Right, but yeah, it doesn't.
Never assume with Quentin.
You're listening to the Prescribed Films Podcast Network, home to hundreds of hours of free podcast entertainment. The shows on this network all have a common goal: providing you with the best discussions about movies and other forms of entertainment media. The PFPN hopes to fill your earholes with audio joy. Visit our website with links to all the other amazing shows at www.thepfpn.com. Thanks for listening.
So yeah, I mean, we can move on. I think we've said, I mean, I'll talk for 2 fucking hours about Kill Bill. We don't want that or need that. So, but
not right now.
No, maybe some other day. So moving on from that, now we move on to definitely a different kind of movies, I guess you could say, from him that didn't make either of our or any of our lists, and that was 2007's Death Proof, which was like a collab between him and Robert Rodriguez, where they each did a film. Yeah. And it was, what was it, Planet Terror?
Yeah, Planet Terror.
Death Proof. Now, I saw that at the theater with a friend of mine back when that came out, when I was out of town. And, you know, it's cool, but it wouldn't be a surprise, I guess, to anybody who's heard me talk so far about what I like and don't like. And it's a little, it's not my thing. I like the Death Proof story. I didn't care that much for Planet Terror. I thought Planet Terror was really goofy. And
Yeah. I liked when I saw it in the theater. By the time you got to Death Proof, you were already kind of like burnt out on.
yeah,
So,
and I think for a lot of people, unfortunately, I think that was a mistake because I feel like Death Proof fell real flat for a lot of people because of that.
I liked it more when I watched it later by itself.
Exactly. I was going to say that when I got a chance to watch it later when it was on video, I just skipped, you know, on Planet Terror. I didn't even bother with getting that, and I just watched Death Proof, and I was like, yeah, I definitely like this better. You know, Mary Elizabeth Winstead is in it, who I'm a big fan of, and everything. Kurt Russell, who's a big fan of, and everything. He's, I always forget her. The
Rosario Dawson.
Yeah, Rosario Dawson and Uma's stunt double was actually in it.
That's
and everything.
right. Yeah,
and she's great. You know, she's amazing in that. That movie, I'd watch that. You know, that's one that I'd watch. Robert's the Planet Terror thing. I could do without that. I don't really need that in my life and everything.
Yeah, it's been so long since I've watched that one. Maybe I'll have to watch that again. But Death Proof I watched recently though, and
I did too, and it's good.
Yeah, it's good.
Not good enough to make my list.
Exactly. Not one of my favorites.
I've never seen it.
Yeah, and that's just
I'd never even heard of it until we started researching. I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
And it didn't seem interested, so I just didn't watch it.
Yeah, it's the whole grindhouse thing, which again, that's not so much my genre. I respect it. I think with Death Proof, I think you did a good job with it and everything, and it's over the top, it's crazy, but it's not my thing. So, yeah, if we're all on the same page with that, then we're just gonna scoot along because we still got plenty to talk about here. Mm-hmm. What I am excited to talk about is the next movie, which was 2009's Inglorious Bastards.
Yeah.
Fuck, man.
Yeah, that was a great movie.
This fucking movie is so good. So what do you love about this one, Gear?
The characters are amazing. The story is really really I don't even know how to describe it. Clever but ridiculous.
Well, that's Tarantino for you, you know.
Yeah, that's true. But Brad Pitt is so good in the movie.
Dude, all of the bastards. Him and Eli Roth, the Bear Jew.
Yeah.
All of it. Holy fuck. What an incredible team. You know, like this really goofy World War II version of the Nazi hunting A-team. You know what I mean? Or something. Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, it's great casting and stuff. What's his name? Christopher Waltz.
Yeah.
What an what an amazing job he does. You know, and again, you know, bringing him back then later for Django, and I think he was even more amazing in Django personally. But I love this movie because, first of all, I fucking hate Nazis, so I really, really enjoyed seeing them get theirs and everything. But this was the first movie of all of them where, again, just like we were saying with Kill Bill, where it was like, wow, you know, the way that movie started and everything, like the way this movie starts, it couldn't be more like night and day. That is some of the most tense, like whatever it is, 10, 15 minutes or whatever that in that beginning. That's some of the most tense beginning of a fucking movie I've ever sat through.
Oh, yeah. I know. It's ridiculous.
With him coming into the house and and just the way that set everything up. And this movie, for as much as it had goofiness and stuff and Brad Pitt and all that shit, this felt like it had the most like well, I don't know what the term is I'm looking for here, like the most not heart, I guess. That's not really, because heart's not that makes you think it's a real heartfelt movie. It's not that. It had so much, I guess, more drama, like legit serious drama to it. That's probably especially
very intense, the whole movie.
Yes. Yeah. All the scenes with the Nazis and stuff coming into the theater and the restaurant and
the guns under the table, who's gonna shoot who and where.
Yeah, that one scene where they're sitting she's sitting down at the restaurant. And
Yeah.
Waltz is sitting next to her. They're just talking.
And eating the dessert and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole thing.
Talking about the movie theater.
Yes. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, out of this movie has by far the most like tension in that regard and just drama. Yeah.
The scene under the scene in the downstairs bar is amazing.
Yeah.
That scene goes on for like 45 minutes.
I know. I know. Yeah. That's this movie. It's another one that I feel like people like it, but I feel like this movie is like slightly underappreciated by the public at large. Like, I thought when this came out and I saw it, I thought that people were just going to lose their fucking minds over this movie. Like, I thought people were going to be like, holy fuck, this is like a masterwork. And some people loved it, but didn't quite make the mark that I thought it did. I thought that beginning of that movie in a very different way, but I felt like it had the same kind of impact that like the emotional impact that like, say, the beginning scene of like Father Merrin in the desert in The Exorcist had on me, or Brando at the wedding and stuff in the beginning of Godfather, and kind of getting, like, it had that same kind of gravitas to me where it was just like, wow. Like, you watch that beginning, you don't necessarily see a lot of the goofiness that comes and everything. And it's interesting because I this wasn't my thought. I saw somebody else bring this up, and I hadn't really thought about it. That the last line of the movie is Brad Pitt looking over Christoph and saying, you know, I think when he's carving up and he's like, I think this might be my masterpiece. And right when he says that, it cuts to the credit that says written and directed by Quentin Tarantino. And people brought up, I saw somebody that brought up, it was like, I think that was kind of like that was him being like, this is my masterpiece. And at that point, man, I got to be honest with you, even though I didn't rank this as high as Kill Bill because that's my personal favorite, but yeah, man, like at that point, at least, it's like that to me was his fucking masterpiece. As great as Jackie Brown is, as great as Kill Bill was, I mean, like, just the way that movie was done and all the bedlam that ends up happening then at the end with when the plan kind of goes into effect with the theater with the Nazis. And I mean, you just get to see him fucking riddle fucking Hitler with bullets with a fucking submachine. It's, come on, it's fucking, that's so great.
Yeah, it's definitely, well, I think, it's his first movie where he, did revisionist history. Right?
Yes.
Right? There wasn't another one before that where he did that?
No, everything was just more fiction.
So I think that kind of adds to the tension because the whole time you're watching it, the first time you watch it, you're just kind of like, you know what
these people are about.
Yeah, you know the history of the background of the topic this movie is about.
Right.
And you're just kind of like, so where is he going to go with this?
Right.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you know, I remember when, I know my history and like, this is all bad and these people are real bad. Where's he going to, and the fact that he revised it, I mean, just that first scene when Eli comes out as the bear Jew.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, it's such a brutal fucking scene with that bat. But you just, again, I'm watching that, I'm like, this is my idea of a feel-good movie. Yeah, exactly. I'm like, wow. I'm really enjoying watching that motherfucker get his head fucking bashed in because he fucking deserves it, you know. And if you don't agree with me, well, fuck you, folks. That's all I got to say about that. But no, I mean, I get, if you're like, I'm not into violence, I get that. But man, if there's ever a call for it, in those cases, it definitely is warranted in my book. Anyway, but yeah, fucking awesome movie. Obviously, you like this movie too.
I did. I really, really enjoyed this movie. I just, because of that kind of violence, it didn't make my list. But it's an excellent, excellent movie.
Yeah.
With a great story.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, her whole story in it and everything, and the background of that, and just the tension and the fear and the anger and the need again for, the revenge and all that kind of stuff.
Taking her power back.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. He's real big on that with like, you know, especially starting with Jackie Brown on. It's like he really did that. So, and I dig that. I think it's great because he does it.
I saw somebody else say that. It's like, oh my gosh, he does do that over and over again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like it's about these people taking their power back from people that wronged them.
Yeah.
And I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. They're usually revenge stories, at least the last several movies.
Yeah. Revisionist history revenge stories.
Yeah.
Yep, I like them.
And I'm going to have a lot to say about that pretty soon, especially once we get to the last movie, man. I can't wait. But yeah, so fucking amazing movie. And then, keeping in with that, then we move on to 2012 with a controversial film for a bunch of reasons, but pretty highly regarded, I think, by most people.
Yeah.
Django Unchained. Yeah, I didn't see this until it was out on video and everything. And I had people like just kind of warning me, like, okay, so here's what you're going to be in for.
Yeah.
It is ultra violent, you know, like
A little bit, maybe.
like there's some very sensitive violence in as much as there's great violence that you enjoy because you're going to see people really fucking get their major comeuppance.
Yeah.
The violence you're going to have to see leading up to that and everything and what they do to people, to Django and his people and stuff is like, it's rough.
So cool.
It's rough. And there's a lot of, and it's like, and don't be too easily offended by a certain racial slur because my God, it's in this movie like 350 times or something.
Jackie Brown too.
Yeah, that's in a different way.
Yeah, it is.
That's done. That's the difference. You know what I mean? In the way that word is used, and not that that word's ever particularly good in it for any reason, but in the way it's used in Django is a whole other bag of dicks, man. And
reason nobody likes that word.
no, and yeah, exactly. And so I mean, and yeah, it was another one that I was like, as much as I love to watch all those fucking Nazis get theirs. Oh man, did I love to watch those fucking redneck, racist, slave owning, whipping motherfuckers get theirs in this. Like that shootout at the fucking
the end. Oh my God.
That shootout, towards the end.
The last scene in the movie is amazing.
Holy fuck. Holy fuck. Oh my gosh, man. But again, the casting, Jamie Foxx, what a fucking, you know, chef's kiss, fucking brilliant, brilliant casting is him for fucking Django, and him and Waltz. They're going back and forth on it and everything. The kind of working friendship they create and everything, of course, and then Leo.
Yeah.
Always amazing.
Yeah, we're big Leo fans around here.
No.
What?
Huge, yes.
Yeah. The way he portrayed that character, like. That cast in that fucking movie, just those. I mean, there's a bunch of great casting in that, but just the four characters of Leo, Sam Jackson, Waltz, and Fox, like those four. It's like holy shit.
Yeah,
the fucking chops going on there, and the way they. Oh my God, so good. What do you dig about this movie?
Yeah, just definitely Jamie Foxx's character. Don
Johnson.
Yeah, Don Johnson. Yeah.
So
he's great in the movie too.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah. And Christoph Waltz's character was incredible.
Yeah, I actually like. I mean, of course, he's a more likable character in this movie than in *Inglourious Basterds*. But I just like. I like his casting even as being that character even better. I feel like he just made that. You just really like that fucking character, you know?
Yeah, and I always wondered if like he got that role because he was such a piece of shit in *Inglourious Basterds*.
Yeah, talk about paying penance.
Yeah, it's like, oh, so he's gonna make you the real good guy in the next movie.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah, that's a very valid point, man. Yeah, I think I can definitely see the allure of being like, hey man, you made me play this fucking like one of the worst Nazis in the fucking world.
Yeah.
In this last movie and everything. Can I do the complete opposite of that in this one? Can I really make amends?
I
and it's like
myself a little bit.
Yeah, and he did in this one, and just. Incredible casting in this. Walt Goggins is the one character, Billy Crash, and oh my gosh,
Samuel L. Jackson was amazing too.
Holy shit! I feel like I feel like that might be his strongest portrayal, his strongest acting chops I've ever seen him do, because that's not an easy role to play, man.
Yeah.
You know, that for one thing, it takes a lot of fucking commitment to the character and staying true to it. That was that might be. I can't say like that's my favorite character because it's such a despicable character.
Yeah.
But I definitely feel like, man, that's one of his like top 3 like most beautifully portrayed. You know, like great acting chops on that. Yeah, I agree with you on that. But
yeah, I love that. It didn't make my top 5 just because I like those 5 a little bit more. But I love Django Unchained. It's a great movie.
Well, that's
beautiful movie.
That's both the frustration and the beautiful thing about these Tarantino films is there really isn't any of them that were like, eh. I mean, I know you weren't familiar with Death Proof, but regardless, I mean, there's none that were like, yeah, that movie kind of blows. It's like this really was very hard to choose to narrow it down to 5. So, but yeah, you're a Django fan.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. That was originally, when we first talked about this, Inglourious Bastards and Django were on my list.
Yeah.
But the more I thought about it and really decided what I liked in movies, it had to be kicked out a little bit. But it's an excellent, excellent movie.
Yeah. Django.
Especially that ending.
Yeah.
And I love that scene where they're all at the dinner table and Leo slams his hand down and he actually cuts himself open.
Yeah, he really did
keeps
that.
acting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was real. Yeah, he actually cut
Leo.
himself, and that wasn't supposed to happen, and he played it into it. It's because Leo's the fucking man. Yeah, he's
powerhouse, man.
Yeah.
He really is. So
yeah.
So then we're winding down here. We're getting to the last couple, but so then after a very brief hiatus, few years, he came back with what I understand was supposed to originally was conceived as being like a sequel to Django. And then as he started working on it, he said, no, I'm going to go in a different direction and make it its own thing, which was 2015's The Hateful Eight.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know more about it, like what he was planning on doing with it to make it Django related, that more closely related and everything. But from what I understand, yeah, that was the plan, is this was going to be like Django Part 2, and then it turned into this totally other thing.
Not even close.
Yeah.
Totally separate.
Yeah.
So now this movie didn't make my list, but you guys like this movie.
Yes.
Yeah, it didn't make my list either,
Right.
but I do like this movie a lot. Yeah, I think it's awesome that it basically all takes place in a room.
Yeah.
Right? It's a stagecoach in a room. That's it.
Yeah, exactly. So that in itself is really cool. I love the mood of the movie. The score was by what's his name, the Italian guy, Morricone.
Morricone. Yeah. I cannot fucking talk tonight, folks. I'm sorry. yeah, exactly. Which did he get an award for that? Because I thought that was the score for this was really highly praised after it came out.
Yeah,
stuff. I could be wrong. Maybe he didn't get an award. He might have got a nomination for it at least.
Yeah, he must have gotten a nomination.
Because it's really fucking good. But anyway, yeah, I mean, how can I not like this? I mean, it's got a Roy Orbison song in the fucking soundtrack, and anybody that knows me is I'm a fucking Roy Orbison fanatic. Yeah, so and it's kind of an obscure one too because it's from his The Fastest Guitar in the West soundtrack. Because Roy Orbison did one movie back in the late 60s. That was back in the time when all like the famous, Elvis and everybody, Cliff Richard, all these different, the Beatles, everybody had to have their movies. Roy Orbison was in a movie. It's not the greatest movie I've ever seen. It's pretty goofy, but the songs are good. You know what I mean? The music is decent and stuff. But yeah, so I thought it was great. And of course, Quentin would be a fan of that fucking movie. Of course he would be,
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, it's cool. You like that movie? You saw it at the theater, right?
Yeah, this is the only Tarantino movie I've seen in the theater.
Oh, really?
Wow.
And I went with my buddy Jim, who's no longer with us, so that's why I had to make my list.
Yeah.
So that was the last movie we went and saw together.
Yeah.
I don't know. I same with you. It's happened all in one room, and it held my interest the entire time.
Yeah, I know.
And I love how they couldn't trust each other. It's like, do I trust you? Do I not trust you?
Mm-hmm.
You nearly drink the poison. Maybe you're trustable.
Right.
Or are you trustable?
Right.
Yeah.
And
no,
then, constantly all, the whole
all plotting against each other the whole time.
Yeah, exactly. Like constantly pointing at the guns. Like,
yeah. And you don't know really any backstory about any of the
Right.
characters at first.
Right.
Yeah, and he slowly,
Yeah.
just like everything else with him, he kind of, goes back and kind of tells you a little bit more,
Right.
a little bit more, so you kind of piece it together as who you can and can't trust and what's really going on in this room. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it.
And then in the midst of that, there's that scene where Samuel L. Jackson's telling the old man on the couch about how he found his son trying working as a bounty hunter.
Yeah.
And then made him walk naked and then suck his cock in
yeah.
fucking mountain.
Yeah.
It's just like the scene is so fucking funny.
Yeah. And horrible, but funny at the same time. Yeah.
Tarantino funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and the thing that struck me about this was that I was like, oh, that's really interesting that one of his last movies is in so many respects kind of so closely paralleled to his first movie because, Reservoir Dogs, it's very similar. It's a bunch of people thrown together. They don't know if they can trust each other. They suspect that somebody, is the mole, is the whatever. They don't know each other's backgrounds and all this kind of stuff. A lot of it takes place kind of there's only a couple settings in that movie.
Yeah.
There's the fucking restaurant in the beginning, which is like the first 10 minutes. There's cutaways to back old story shots and everything, but the rest of it is basically taking place in that warehouse, and all the tension that's going on. So it's very similar in that regard.
Yeah.
You were telling me, Gary, the other night that there's actually like a fucking is there really like a 4-hour version of that movie?
Yeah, it's on Netflix. It's the
Oh,
director's
really?
cut. Yeah,
Jesus
it's like
Christ.
4.5 hours.
Holy Christ. Okay.
Yeah.
Oof.
I watched it like 6 months ago or something.
So here's an honest answer. Is it a good watch or is it like?
Yeah, no, I enjoyed it. It had been a little while since I had seen the original version, so I didn't quite remember exactly what was or wasn't in it.
Oh, okay.
It still flowed really well.
Well, that's probably a better gauge anyway then.
Yeah.
Because then you're just judging it as it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting. Yeah, I got to watch that version. I've got to decide if I'm a masochist enough to sit down and watch.
Yeah, the movie itself is long as hell anyway.
Right.
Yeah,
It's like a
3 hours
3-hour.
long or something
Yeah.
like that, yeah.
Right. Exactly. So going like even longer, it's like holy fuck, man. But yeah, it didn't make my list, but not again, just like we keep saying, not for lack of it being a good movie or not.
Yeah.
Yeah. So. All right, so then this leads us to the last film of the Quentin verse, really of the main films anyway, his main 9, and that is none other than 2019's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
It's high on all of our list.
Yeah.
It was very high. Yeah, because we all had it right up there near the top and stuff.
2 and 3s, I think.
Yeah. Before I even get into what we like about it, it's such an interesting thing that out of all of his movies, at least from my experience talking to people I know, like our fucking bandmates, and but what do they know anyway, right? But no, in all seriousness, from talking to a lot of people, this seems to be one of the most polarizing of all the Tarantino films. Like people either are like, this movie's a masterpiece, or they're like, I don't fucking like that movie at all. I don't get it at all.
It's weird. I don't understand.
Yeah. No, I know.
Because clearly we lean more towards the masterpiece thing.
Thank goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, whereas like I said, when I saw Bastards, I thought it was like, that's his masterpiece. This might be his masterpiece.
Yeah, I would say so.
This movie's, folks, I mean, we want to see and hear from you in the comments and everything. If you're like, oh my God, no, that movie's terrible, or I just didn't like it. I mean, I'm willing to hear you out. I'd love to hear your viewpoints on it, but I don't get it. I mean, I thought this movie was fucking amazing. And it was I feel like in so many ways, while it's still very Quentin, there was things about it that I felt was like, wow, like some of it even just felt like, maybe not fresh, but it just felt like new for him, Like I didn't feel like it was.
Didn't feel like a typical Tarantino movie.
No.
To me.
It had tons of Tarantino-isms in it.
Oh, yeah.
Tons
absolutely.
of it. But
not like the others.
No. This was, as we know, everybody knows that he said it basically himself. This movie was like a love letter to the end of old Hollywood, when that all died literally and figuratively with the Manson murders and all that kind of shit. And I guess, you know, when I think about certain people like Vito who say, man, I just didn't like that movie. I didn't get it. I didn't understand it or whatever. I guess if you're not really familiar with that kind of history and you don't even know who fucking Sharon Tate is and you don't know about like what movies and TV and how things were back then, you know, pre-1969 and post-1969, because there really was a major change, you know?
Yeah.
And I don't think it was all attributed to Charlie and the family and all that stuff, but you know, it signaled a big part of the change and everything. If you don't understand that, but if you do, I don't see how you can't just be enthralled with this fucking movie. I mean, Gary, like, what did you love about this movie?
Everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's hard to explain. There was like all this hype about it when it came out. Like people were saying, you know, he's doing a Manson murder movie.
Right.
So already then, there you go. I went into it with some expectations, and it was completely different than what I thought it was gonna be.
Me too.
Yeah.
Same here. Yeah, it was not what I expected it to.
Yeah, which I should have known that it wasn't going to be what I expected it to be. But yeah, the story with between
Pitt and Leo. Oh my God.
Yeah.
What's it, Dalton and Booth or something?
Yeah, Rick Dalton and Cliff Booth.
Yeah. Yeah, that whole thing was amazing. That was like a great way to, you know, set up the movie and, you know, keep it going.
Build it around it.
Yeah, exactly. Build around those two characters.
Yeah.
Because they were so good in those two roles.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I mean, yeah, well, first of all, you get Brad Pitt and Leo DiCaprio together in a fucking Tarantino movie playing the two leads. It's like, holy shit. Like,
gold right there.
Right, exactly.
I don't even care what it is. It's gold.
And, I mean, yeah, in the way they acted those characters. I mean, I feel like Pitt as Cliff is not a huge stretch for him. It's like, that's a very Brad Pitt. But I feel like Leo as Rick is really like what he did to that character, because that character could be very unlikable.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he could be very unlikable where you're just like, oh, this fucking guy. And at moments you feel a little bit like that, but then he keeps doing things and bringing it back to where you're just like, but God damn, he's funny. And sometimes, and at certain points you go, oh, okay, I kind of understand. Like I understand.
Feel bad for him.
Right, his motivation and what he's going through, and then there's certain things. Yeah. I this is definitely for me, like when you were talking earlier, Gary, about tone. Like this is one of those movies where the tone of it is just, it's just so amazing, and it's a little heartbreaking. This is the most heartbreaking of all his movies because again, we're dealing with real life events that he is now doing
a rewrite,
revisionist history on, and it's so heartbreaking when you know what really happened and you see where it could, you know, you're like, oh, I know how this ends up. So it's so fucking fulfilling the way it doesn't end up in this movie, and it isn't even just that like these people, like you're just so happy, not even just the things that like not even just the real life stuff that like Sharon doesn't die and all that kind of stuff and everything, but even just like that at the very end, it took all that crazy shit happening for Rick to finally get invited up to the to the Polanskis, you know, with Roman and Sharon and everything. He finally gets through that gate, you know, and everything, and like you're just like, oh, good, you know, like I'm so happy. I want to know, like I hope things really went like maybe they did do a movie together and everything, which is also great because Quentin planned all that out. Like he has the whole story planned out. Like he knows every movie that Rick ever made after that, and like he planned all that shit out. Like even you watch the one documentary where he talks about the TV show Bounty Law.
Yeah.
That Rick starred in, and Quentin's like, oh, I have like a whole miniseries written of 6 Bounty Law episodes full episodes that Leo will star in and blah blah blah, and I'm going to make them black and white. Like they're going to be legit. It's going to be legit. Like it's just going to be me making that fucking TV show. Oh, I'm fucking doing it. I'm like, good.
Yeah.
Good. Nobody's doing that. Like I want you to do that. Why not? Yeah, it's unconventional and weird. Good. Fucking do that. I'll take that over all the fucking 50 million more fucking Walking Dead fucking spin-offs and all this other horse shit that's on TV. Like, I will sit there through fucking black and white fucking Bounty Law episodes with Rick Dalton in it. I'm like, absolutely, I'll watch the fuck out of that. I love that just because it's so different.
Yeah, I would love to see Brad Pitt's character. You like see him like he accidentally gets into frame or something. He's like,
or very obviously playing a stunt double, like where there's like a scene where Rick Dalton is supposed to fall off the top of a fucking stagecoach and you clearly see it's Cliff.
Yes, yes, I want that.
Because that was real common back then. We know from watching the old Star Trek series where we're like, oh my
wait a
God.
minute, that's not Kirk.
Like
he's got a bald spot. What's going on?
Yeah. Like that guy had a bald spot and a mustache. How was that Captain Kirk? Like, and you literally, it's that bad in some old Star Trek episodes. It's amazing.
That would be awesome.
Yeah. So. I love that. I mean, again, before I know people are going to be like, Larry, you have a problem. But, oh my God, the joy that fills my fucking cold heart when Cliff just destroys the fucking Mansonites. And
bounces their face off that fireplace.
That fucking fireplace mantle and then the table.
Yeah, the ending of the movie was incredible.
I will be the first to admit that even as horrible of a fucking cunt as that girl was in real life and deserved to have that happen to her, I admit that I got a little bit too much joy out of watching that. Because even earlier tonight I was watching the documentary about it when we were getting ready to come pick you up and stuff. And
I was dying. I was like, geez, dude.
They showed that scene again of Cliff fucking just fucking that broad up, and then Leo, Rick Dalton with the flamethrower in the pool and burning that bit. I was like,
he's like, whoa.
I was like, yeah, when Rick was like, whoa, and his reaction to it made it even better. That he was like, God damn, what did I just do? You know, and everything. I love that scene so much because I fucking hate Charles Manson. I hate the Manson family. I hate the fact that so many people, especially stupid fucks we know in the fucking metal scene, bro, that are like, fucking Charles Manson, that shit's so fucking cool. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. That guy deserved to have his fucking jaw snapped off his fucking face, and all those stupid dumbass brainwashed fucking hippies that followed him and did what they did, horrible shit they did, their stinky ass and dirty feet. Fuck them.
Yeah.
I got long hair, but I ain't no fucking hippie, that's for sure. And I sure as fuck ain't no fucking Mansonite hippie. So watching them get their comeuppance and seeing them get fucking tortured and murdered instead of, Sharon Tate and all them, loved it. I give it 5 stars. I fucking love that, man. So
I love the dog in this movie.
the dog's great. Yeah, Cliff's
it.
dog. Yeah, that dog is awesome. Well, you're a big fan of.
Saves the day.
I love my pits.
Fuck yeah, it does. Yeah,
Yeah.
everything. I mean, this movie. Oh, the whole. Of course we can't. We got to mention the controversial Bruce Lee scene thing. And I get it. I understand. It's definitely one point of view. Quentin has, especially in recent times when he did his fucking interview with on Joe Rogan and other places, he's pretty much made no bones about that. He's fucking had it with the Bruce Lee mystique and story. He's just like, that guy, he wasn't fucking perfect, everybody. Like fucking get over it. But also, I mean, my thing, I don't totally agree with him. I love Bruce Lee. I'm a big Bruce Lee fan, but and I respect Bruce Lee, but I understand what he's saying. He's like, look, this is revisionist history. I'm not saying this happened. I'm not saying Bruce Lee ever got his ass kicked. I'm not saying Bruce Lee would have in real life reacted this way. Maybe he would have. Maybe he wouldn't have. This is my fake idea. This is in my head, my universe in my head. This is what would have happened.
Yeah. I mean, if you watched that movie, all 2.5 hours of it, and all you got out of it was
that part.
Yeah, was to be mad about that part, then
You missed the point.
yeah,
And I know
then you're
we
just
know
not gonna
people
like,
that felt
yeah,
that way.
You're just not going to like the movie anyways.
Yeah.
Well, the documentary we were watching,
Yeah.
because I think you came down to work on the camera or something
Yeah.
like that. So you missed this part. Was they were talking about a lot of people didn't like working with Bruce Lee because he whooped the shit out of them, and they would be in extreme pain afterwards.
He
He'd
worked
actually be
stiff.
hurting them.
Yeah, he worked stiff. He wouldn't pull punches sometimes.
Yeah. So one time, I guess one of the other guys had enough of it, and they went toe to toe, and he ended up taking Bruce Lee down. You know, getting the upper hand on him for once, and Bruce Lee really respected him, and they were kind of like frenemies.
Okay.
Until Bruce Lee was like, that's the only person I'm going to work with. And he didn't have to hold the punches back and stuff like that because they went toe to toe. He's like, I respect him now.
Right.
And they respect each other for what they are. He's like, this is my double I need to be working with and everything. And that's kind of where he was coming at with that, I guess, is what they were saying.
He didn't really emphasize the friend part of the frenemy thing.
And I think
in the movie.
He missed that part in the movie.
Yeah.
Because even, he kind of touched on it because whenever Booth comes over, he's like, and Bruce is like, well, it was really, a friendly talk or whatever, he said about it. And he's like, well, the car doesn't say that. So that was kind of Bruce Lee saying, it's like, no, we were just working things out. That's just how we work it out.
Yeah.
Right.
So I guess that was his attempt at saying that.
I suppose, yeah.
And that may just be backpedaling. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe.
I'm getting all the backslash. But if he's been so upfront about it.
Well, like I said, Quentin has been pretty no bones, especially in recent years,
So
about
I don't
that
think he's going to backpedal.
No, he doesn't really.
Backpedal.
He doesn't respect Bruce Lee in the same way a lot of the rest of us do, and that's fine. He's entitled to his fucking opinion, right or wrong. But that is not. Yeah, I mean that to me, that whole scene, it was cool, it was interesting, but that was almost like one of the more less interesting parts about that movie.
I could have just left out. I've been fine.
Yeah, exactly. I was so much more invested. I thought the whole making of him going and guesting on that show, and that fucking little girl that's
I loved her.
that she's
I know.
she's like 11 going on 49. The way she acts and everything. Like that was brilliant.
Like, what are you, 12?
Yeah. Like, so what are you talking about? And everything, and just the way she talked. And then I love the way there started to be sort of like a growing like respect and like working relationship between them. And it's so odd because he's so not the kind of guy to be hanging out with some fucking 12-year-old. You know what I mean? Like but that they found this kind of thing, and where he started, when he starts talking to her on the phone and everything, and they're going over lines, and like they have this, and it's like, that's so bizarre.
Yeah.
But they make it work, Yeah. I adore the fuck out of this movie. And like I said, I got the novelization of it. I'll remind me, I got to give it to you. The novelization. So I loved this movie so much when I saw it. And then I got the novelization. And in all honesty, the novelization made me love the movie 5 times more than I already did.
Oh, wow. I need to read it too then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like there's tons of like, wow, illuminating, but just the way things are fleshed out and
The book's always better.
Yeah, it really is. And it going into a lot of things that are in Cliff's head that he's thinking and feeling, a lot of things that are in Rick's head, and then stuff that gets left out, especially more towards the end. It fleshes out more of the ending and stuff like that. And it's really, really good. It's going to make you want to like watch the movie again. And it's really going to make you want him to put out the fucking extended director's cut.
Yes, please do that.
Yeah. Because he's been teasing that.
Yeah, I would really like to see that.
That's supposed to be another like 4.5 hour.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Like,
I mean, you figure how much extra stuff did they have to shoot just to like do the show clips from the TV shows or his old movies.
Yeah, there's people that were in this movie that aren't even in the movie.
Yeah.
They had to cut so much of it.
I know.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, I definitely, that's the kind of thing that and we were talking about it earlier when we were all in the car. I was like, this is, even if they re-released it and they were like, well, we're going to do a limited, 2 week or 1 week or whatever the fuck it is, re-release in select theaters of the 4.5 hour version of it.
We're going.
Yeah,
we're fucking,
I would go.
We're fucking going, yeah, because I really, really want to fucking sit through that. I'll bring a fucking extra cushion for my ass from sitting there for so long. If
Maybe there'll be an intermission for us.
Yeah.
Go to the bathroom.
Exactly. Yeah, there could
Grab
be.
another drink.
I could totally see him doing an intermission,
awesome.
because old movies used to do stuff like that back in the day,
Mm-hmm.
You go see like really long movies like It's a Mad, Mad, Mad World and stuff, the old ensemble comedy from the early 60s, and they had an intermission in the movie, and 10 Commandments, things like that. They would do the intermission.
Gone with the Wind, all that.
Yeah, right, exactly. So that would be totally fitting for a Tarantino movie. But
I do also want to add, I love the whole ranch
Oh yeah,
thing.
yeah. The
He
little
beats the
horror
shit out of that
movie
guy by the
inside.
oh yeah,
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 exactly.
yeah.
I was like, what's going to happen?
Yeah, I
It
know.
was so tense.
Yeah, that scene comes out of nowhere because none of the movie up until then is like anything like that.
Right.
And yeah, that scene was amazing.
Yeah, with Tex and
Oh,
all.
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Yeah, those
Fuck that guy.
motherfuckers. Yeah, fuck all of them. Squeaky Fromm and ugh, I fucking God, I hate the Mansons. Anyway, but yeah, so while it didn't make any of our number ones, you know, it's
We all love it.
Yeah, no, yeah, I love that movie.
I think that movie's great. Yeah, I want to watch it again already.
Yeah, that's the one I was.
Kinda
I had a hard
flip-floppy.
time not making it number one, but
Yeah,
it just
Pulp
put it
Fiction
not-
had to be,
Yeah,
yeah.
it
I
just
get
had to
it.
be.
Well, yeah, exactly. I think all of our, it's interesting that for all three of us, I think our number ones were sort of like our sentimental number one.
yeah, for sure.
Jackie Brown, Kill Bill, Pulp Fiction. But then like our next one, because I know, like you said, you went back and forth on your number 2 and 3. Like
Yeah.
this could have easily been your number 2. So it's interesting that this sort of ends up being like the non-sentimental,
Yeah.
the non-sentimental number 1. We'll
Yes.
say, yeah, yeah.
That's true. Yeah,
I think that's fair. So I mean, yeah, that basically covers it. I mean, there was other things that we know. Like I said, he had his involvement with things like From Dusk Till Dawn and everything, which is
It's a fun movie.
yeah, that's definitely a weird,
A little
fun,
weird.
yeah.
You
a
know,
lot of weird.
but he had a lot to do with that. That could have potentially been in the list, but you know, yeah, for me, that just sits a little bit too outside.
I toyed with the idea, but yeah, it's
Right.
just landed outside number 10.
Right. And and then of course his involvement and his tone in things like True Romance and Natural Born Killers and all that kind of stuff. But no, I feel pretty good about my list. There really isn't anything I'd change other than, like I said, depending on the day of the week, there
Some
might
order.
be might be a little bit of change of order there and
Yeah.
stuff. But yeah, and then we'll end on this. Like I said, Tarantino has teased that he's still got his 10th movie to make. Right now he's enjoying being a father, I guess. and
Yeah.
everything. So he's like, I like staying at home and actually being involved in my family, and everything. But he does want to do the 10th eventually. He's not in too big of a hurry because he's standing by steadfast that that's going to be my last one. And there's a lot of speculation, and he's even kind of hinted at that the 10th one, like we mentioned earlier, might be the sequel, might be, Kill Bill 3. or
Yeah,
whatever you wanna
I
call
hope
it.
so.
I do too, because I can't really. I mean, he could always come up with something brand new, and I'd be
Another
down.
rewrite.
I'd be down with that too. I mean, if he made something great, but I just feel like out of all the movies he made, that's the one that really set it up. Because with, like I said, with the daughter, with Vivica's daughter, and all that stuff, and then he has even mentioned how he would like to not only get Uma back and stuff, but like possibly get Uma's daughter, Maya Hawke, to actually play BB, a grown-up version of BB, her daughter, in the movie and stuff like that, which would make sense because he got Maya Hawke to be in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and
And BB was in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
yeah, and the little girl who played BB played the one that gave Cliff the
joint.
the
whatever it was.
lace joint, yeah. And
Oh yeah.
that's
Oh, I didn't realize
that's
that.
actually BB, the little girl
Interesting.
from grown up now, because I mean that was filmed fucking 18 years ago or whatever it was. So yeah, there's a lot of really cool ways he can tie it, and plus, I mean, the thing is one of the reasons why he didn't do it any sooner, or there was never any serious plans about it, was because he had a serious falling out with Uma Thurman. I don't know if you guys knew about that. He had a big falling out with Uma Thurman towards the end of making Kill Bill 2, because the one scene when she was driving down the road, I think when she was leaving the brothel towards the end of Kill Bill 2, she was driving that car, and she told him, like, I don't feel real comfortable driving this. It doesn't feel real stable, this and that. You keep telling me to go fast, and I feel like I can't control it. And he was blowing her off. He was like, no, you fucking do it. You do it. You'll be fine. Just quit being a baby. And she ended up getting in a crash. She ended up crashing into a tree.
Yeah, I remember hearing about that.
And she hurt herself like really bad from that. So she says she still has like residual problems and stuff with her back and her neck and stuff to this day. And she felt like it wasn't cool that he did that to her, and I guess the way he sort of reacted to it, and then when she tried to get some sort of like responsibility from this film studio and stuff to help, like he didn't side with her like he was supposed to. And then of course there was the whole like Harvey Weinstein kind of stuff, because she was not a fan of him for a long time, and he was like, oh, that's my guy, you know, that's my Now he feels very different. He has for years now. I don't remember what one of the interviews I saw him do, he came out and said like, that's one of my greatest regrets of my entire career was what went down with Uma, and he's like admitted like I was wrong.
Yeah.
Like I was totally wrong about all of that and stuff. So, you know, now it appears from what I understand, they've kind of made some amends and they're cool again, and he went and got her blessing for him to cast Maya in the movie and everything. And so it's like, okay, cool. Like he's sort of mending those fences so like we can make this happen.
Yeah. No, I hope he does.
Yeah, I think that'd be great. But yeah, man, this has been fun. I'm glad we finally
thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no. I'm happy. Yeah. We'll get you back again if we find something to talk about that you actually give a fuck about, because I know you're like, yeah, don't call me about Star Wars.
Like we got Leo right here.
Yeah, maybe we can get him in on the Leo talk. And stuff.
I'll do that.
All right.
That'd be fun, yeah, because we've been wanting for a long time to talk about Leo movies. And
yeah, there's a lot of good ones.
Fuck yeah, there is.
We just talked about a few.
Yeah, exactly. And there's more. But all right, everybody. Yeah, so let us know in the comments, as always. Let us know what you thought of our picks. I'm sure there's going to be bitching about it. I don't care. But
there are picks.
There are picks.
Tell us your picks.
Yeah, everybody's entitled to their own. And yeah, let us know yours and why. And yeah, we'd love the feedback. And as always, you know, you can join us in the Geeking Squad group on Facebook. We'll have links for that and everything. And yeah, we'll be back soon. Hopefully we'll have some more stuff to talk to you about before the end of the year. Okay. You never know with us anymore, man. This pandemic in 2020 just turned everything on its head, and we're still kind of recovering from all of that. So we're trying to get stuff out there. But yep, thanks everybody. Thanks, Gary.
Thank you.
Thanks, Meg.
Thank you.
Doctor. And
he's like, what's going on?
Yeah. And
is this a bit?
Yeah, it's a bit. All right, everybody. We'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.